Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. We're talking with Judge Michelle Harrison of Douglas County Juvenile Court. She actually gave us unprecedented access into her courtroom to just see what kinds of things are going on with our juveniles, and we are calling it teens, trauma, and trouble. And we have seen a lot since reform measures actually took effect several years ago. There's been a greater emphasis we've learned on diversion programs and that effort to identify and address the root causes of why children, teens behave the way they do. When it comes to diversion programs, though, we want to know what's working, what's not working, and we know you must hear some heartbreaking stories along with that as well.
Yes, but diversion programs are really a wonderful opportunity to help address the children that are at risk of ending up deeper into the system. And if we get them in an informal manner and not handcuff them and bring them in, either lock them up or bring them into the courtroom in shackles, but give them an opportunity to not even come into that environment and get them the help that they need to address whatever issues are going on, and to get family buy-in and get them participating as well. And ultimately, the goal is to not have to go forward on the delinquent charges or the unruly charges that may be brought against them.
And I think people don't realize as well, if these delinquent charges, if the kids do probation or diversion programs, their records, because they're juveniles, are sealed.
Yes.
So that may never follow them into the working world.
And most of the time juvenile records are confidential, but there are ways for them to become open to certain arenas and certain situations. When you have a case that you successfully complete without a formal adjudication, it can be dismissed, and when it is dismissed, the child's record is sealed. It's as if it had never occurred to begin with. And it really is a good opportunity to give those children that truly made a mistake and have learned from that mistake to work on making better choices. It gives them something to look forward to that is not going to follow them for the rest of their lives.
But when does that case follow them for the rest of their lives?
It can follow them through if they ever want to go into any kind of military branch. It can follow them if they ever, as an adult, get in trouble and they are convicted of a crime. They can, the solicitor's office or the prosecution office can get the history that way and use it for sentencing purposes. So generally, it's not open to anybody, but there are other ways to open that up. If a child goes before the court and is adjudicated for their second time, then the schools can get notice of that, and then the record is a little bit more open than under normal circumstances.
Now, I know Judge Walker talked about the importance of letting a child be heard in court and having their voice. You thought that as well, because I saw a couple of times where you spoke to the children directly and had them tell you what was going on. Why is that so important?
I think one of the things that is hardest for a child, first of all, they come into the courtroom and they're totally freaked out by the environment. They're not understanding what's going on. It's scary to be sitting in front of a judge. It's scary to know that a judge can control your fate. And oftentimes kids have a lot to say, and if they're not really given an opportunity to say those things, then it's up to us as that gatekeeper to give them that arena to speak. Most of the time that children that come before me have attorneys, and they can make their points across by their attorney, but once the case is over, once we've gotten past sort of that fact-finding stage, it's a little bit more open to allow a child to say, how do they want their case handled? What consequences do they believe that they need, or what services do they think that they need? How do they feel about the circumstances?
Well, what still troubles you about the way the juvenile justice system is set up for the kids? Any flaws that you see that you still think need to be rectified?
I really think that having the community and society understand the development of the youth brain and the fact that it is so different than the adult brain, and children don't formulate that decision-making power, the frontal lobe, which is the last part to develop, the part that helps them control their impulses and decide, this is not really a good choice if I go down this way. I really think that if we could get out to the community that we have to treat these kids differently. Treating them like adults doesn't work. It only, I think Judge Teskey said on one of his clips that, we're only treating the symptoms when we treat them like criminals, and we can't do that.
Judge Harrison, good words. We tackle a sobering issue when we come back. Teens who kill. We're going to examine the causes and get input from a prominent clinical psychologist. We'll be right back.